This is the ABQ Business Podcast with your host, Jason Rigby. Each week we'll interview visionary business leaders to inspire the creative power and spirit that's in every entrepreneur. Discussing strengths, weaknesses, strategies, systems, and the problems we can all solve together for a new future for local small business.
What is up, guys? Weather's warm here, I know, in Albuquerque, but my guest, it's even warmer. Mike, you're in Mexico, right?
Yes, I am, Jason. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm calling in from Guadalajara, Mexico.
That's awesome. We're going to get into that about you moved your business down there, and we'll get into talking about that. But Mike Beck is with the AMZ Advisors. And Mike, I kind of want to, this is Amazon. And this is the time, I know the last 8-9 months especially. I saw a statistic the other day, and I don't know if it was true or not. You know how when you read stuff online, clickbait, but it said that we've shopped more online in the last year than we have in the last 9 years.
Yeah, I believe that's true. I mean, I don't have the exact numbers, but I think if we looked over the numbers from, I want to say late March to early April, the amount of e-commerce grew about 12% over the previous year, just in like 3-4 weeks. So yeah, 2020 was a crazy year for Amazon, especially, but e-commerce in general, because everybody was shopping online.
That's crazy. And so let's start from the very beginning, if you don't mind. I know you have 3 business partners that are your friends, and you guys did you guys meet there was this summer of 2003 where you guys had a lacrosse summer camp. Is that when you guys met, or, how did this transpire, this business partnership?
Yeah, so I do have a business with a few of my very close friends. Originally, one of my friends I've actually grown up with. I've known him since we were in kindergarten, which is going way back. I don't think we ever imagined actually having a business like we do now. And the other one is a friend that we met when we were going into high school. We all played sports together. We were all playing lacrosse, like you said. And from there, we just turned into really great friends. We all went to college. My 2 other business partners actually went to the same school. And then I went to a separate school, and then, we started working corporate jobs. After that, we realized we wanted to do something for ourselves. And that's kind of when we started our entrepreneurship journey.
So whenever you were especially at, I'm thinking like high school, college time, were you wanting to be an entrepreneur then? Because I know you were in real estate, like commercial real estate, when you got out of, but I mean, was there like a desire then?
I don't know. It's tough to say. I don't think I was ever, one of those people that was like born as an entrepreneur, like, oh, this is my calling. This is something I'm going to do. I always thought it would be very cool to work for myself. But at the same time, I was very interested in a lot of other areas that don't necessarily have anything to do with what I'm doing now. I almost went to law school. I tried to work in finance after college, in investment banking, but honestly, all these things kind of seemed like a detour. Every job I worked in consulting, I worked in real estate, like you said. I just didn't feel happy. I guess I would say I didn't feel like my own boss. I didn't have control, and that's kind of what drove me, at least, down the entrepreneurship route. And yeah, I guess I was kind of made myself into an entrepreneur instead of was born that way or something.
Yeah, I think one of the things I'm always seeing with entrepreneurs is this, like you said, the word happy, or like wanting to create something out of nothing. And it's always interesting to me whenever I talk to entrepreneurs like yourself. And it's, I mean, you pretty much had everything going for you. You had a college. I mean, right now, if you would have stayed on that track for commercial real estate, you probably would have had a pretty good life and just lived a normal, everyday American life. And now you're in Mexico. You know what I mean? So it's funny how this calling, if you want to call it that, for entrepreneurship, how it, or a bug, or whatever you want to call it, how it hits us. And then, we start assimilating all this risk. So was it like, so you're in college, you're trying to do finance, you're thinking lawyer. When was this thing that started like really pushing you towards entrepreneurship? Was it, the idea of, Kindle? Because I know there was some issues with Kindle books and stuff like that.
I think there's a few things that, looking back, kind of pushed me in that direction. The first one was actually, I mean, I went to an okay school. It wasn't a great school, and I think I had a lot of trouble getting into some of the top internship programs that I wanted to. And I felt like because I couldn't do this, I wasn't fit. I wasn't, fit for investment banking or being a lawyer, whatever it was. So that kind of pushed me down one way. And actually, instead of taking summer internships, I worked on an island during my summers in college, where everyone would come out to vacation. You'd meet all these business owners that had their own boats, that were driving their boats out to the island, that were staying for weeks. They were all having so much fun, enjoyed their lives. They ran these massive businesses. And that to me was the first thing that was kind of impressive. I was like, all right, like maybe this would be cool to do one day. This lifestyle looks pretty nice. It's not always that easy, but that was one thing that pushed me that way. I think another good thing that really got me thinking more about entrepreneurship was when I was doing real estate development for Sears. This was 2015, 2016, 2015, actually, excuse me. When Sears was really starting to struggle, we were trying to raise a lot of money through selling property. And I kind of had the breakthrough that what was a secure six-figure job per se actually wasn't that secure. I mean, my job position was related to the decisions that other people were making for the future of a business. So if they made the wrong decisions, that could affect me. I could lose my job. I could be out of work. Who knows how that could impact me. And that's kind of where I started realizing that maybe I can make better decisions for myself in my own business and provide more security or more safety for myself by working for myself. And then, that's where that all the initial attempts to get into entrepreneurship, like selling on Kindle, selling products on Amazon, doing retail arbitrage, all of that really came from those experiences, I think.
Yeah. And so how old were you when you began to kind of look at this whole Kindle publishing?
I was 24. 24, yeah.
So here you are working for Sears, it's real estate development. And then this whole idea of being able to, were you thinking of like it being like a side hustle?
I don't know. I think I was just looking. I mean, I guess at the time I was looking for ways to make extra money. I didn't really see myself as necessarily, being a business owner. Maybe at that point, I was just looking for ways to get more money to invest into things. I really wanted to start buying real estate for myself so I could, start making rents from people. And I think that's the initial urging that kind of came from that, and why we kind of got into that. But I think once we kind of saw the potential within Amazon, or at least, for me, when I saw the potential within Amazon, is when we kind of started thinking like, all right, maybe this could actually be a real business that could, lead to something, way better than the outcomes that I was expecting in my current job.
Yeah, and this is always I always love when I look at the paths of entrepreneurs. So there was a course that was about Kindle publishing. And so, it's no matter how cheesy it is, we always end up buying a course.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if this one was cheesy or not. Now, was this just specifically on Kindle publishing? And did you guys? Was this you, or was it your soon to be business partners? Who was the one that was motivated by this to buy this course?
So we were kind of playing with a bunch of different ideas when it came to a business, and a bunch of ways to make money online. There's almost unlimited ways, but actually one of my business partners was the first one to buy this course and kind of start learning about the Kindle world. And then from there, kind of introduced myself and my other business partner to it. I started publishing myself, started putting my own ebooks out to make some side money. My other partner didn't. But yeah, he started with it, and he kind of had the idea of doing this, selling stuff on Amazon, and he jumped into the idea of selling physical goods as well on Amazon, which sounded crazy to me, to actually import something from another country and then try to sell it online at first. And then we got into it, and we were like, all right, this isn't so strange, this isn't so hard. And yeah, it starts with a course. It starts with trying to learn more, trying to find a new opportunity. And then from there, you just never know what doors it's really going to open.
Yeah, and you guys were doing according to the bio, there was like 15 books. So there was
Yeah.
commercial residential real estate, which I imagine you wrote that one, and then there's backpacking, paleo, CrossFit, veganism. And I even see this big green book with a warehouse full of marijuana called "Growing Marijuana and the 10 Necessary Steps for Turning a Profit in First Year."
Yes, we were very good at doing SEO research for Amazon. We found some very nice niches where we thought we could start publishing some content, start selling some books that way. All of those were just opportunities that showed up. We primarily hired ghostwriters to write most of those books. The real
Oh,
estate books I wrote myself, but the other books were written by ghostwriters. So no, we didn't have a warehouse of marijuana anywhere, unfortunately.
yeah, no, yeah. It now there's pretty is there pretty strict laws in Mexico? Do you know?
They actually recently more or less legalized it, so things are a
Oh,
little bit different here. Well, I guess it's more decriminalized than legalized, but
right.
yeah,
Yeah, because I know like Portland, Oregon. Did you hear about them?
no, I don't.
They in their I know you're living down there, but they decided to decriminalize all drugs.
Oh, I did hear about that actually. I remember that.
So this should be a nice experimental project for us here in the United States. But so you're looking at, oh, okay, we got these Kindle books, these are going. We hired these ghostwriters. We're really good at SEO. We're doing these great titles. Okay, here we go. We're making a little. Probably you guys probably weren't making great money, but some money was coming in.
Yeah, it all starts with a little royalty. I think we were making about between 30 and 50% per book, I think it was. We still sell the books, they're still going, but honestly I haven't even looked on the platform to see how many sales we get, but the money just keeps getting deposited into our bank account every month, so I can't really complain about that. But yeah, it was like you said, we were just learning. We realized we were good at the SEO, we were good at the marketing side, and we were like, all right, now maybe we can try this with another type of product on the platform. And that's where we started taking courses and consuming a lot of material on the actual process of creating a private label for the Amazon platform.
And when was this whole idea? And kind of take us through the process of this going to these retail stores. And I know you guys went to like Toys R Us, Home Goods, Walmart, but like going to these retail stores, rolling through these clearance aisles, and then trying to put this on Amazon. I've heard of this before. Can you kind of go through that process?
Yeah. So what that's called is retail arbitrage. And essentially, arbitrage in general, the definition means that you're taking advantage of pricing inefficiencies or inefficiencies in general within the marketplace. And we realized that there was a pretty big inefficiency between retail stores and between selling online. I mean, we're not the only ones to realize this. This is a serious industry. A lot of people actually make a full-time living doing this. But essentially, what we were doing was, like you said, going to Walmart, going to Target. I think, I'm originally from Connecticut. I think we hit every Target and Walmart in the tri-state area, buying everything that was on clearance, and just flipping it, putting it on FBA. The first product we sold was a internet router, and we bought it for something like $15 and sold it for like 115 or something. We were like, oh, all right, well, this isn't bad. This is pretty easy. We can start doing this. We got into retail arbitrage for probably 2-3 months, ended up making about, I think, $7,000-8,000. And then we invested that into our first private label brand.
So what is it when we look at a like private label brand? Because I've heard, like I said, I'm new to this, so being I've heard of things like this. Is this like where let's say I wanted to create my own yoga mat, and so I would go to China and go to the factories, or I'd have a Zoom meeting and have them make them and then bring them, and then have them ship them to Amazon. Is that kind of the process of this?
Yeah, that's more or less the process. I mean, what we were doing was, and it was crazy thinking back because, this was our first time in this, but we were reaching out to a bunch of manufacturers in another country. It was China that we were working with initially. Seeing if they had a product that we wanted to sell. We had done our research online on Amazon and found some opportunities that we thought were good. From there, we sent a bunch of money over to China, which was probably one of the scarier things that we were doing in our young entrepreneurship careers. And then, a few weeks later, they had some product made for us. They shipped it to us. They actually flew it through air freight to us in Connecticut. We checked it all out. It looked all good. We sent it into Amazon FBA. and started selling the product. It was during fourth quarter 2015, I think it was the first, 2014, one of those years, I can't remember. And on that first day, we sold like 30 units. And we were like, oh, all right, so this is how it works. And, from there, we were just hooked. It was so much fun to sell stuff on Amazon and to, build these brands. We built another one that was focused on outdoor supplies and sporting goods and things like that. And yeah, we were just pumped and kept selling.
So is it like, because I want to help, we have 38,000 business leaders that listen to this podcast. And so is it this whole idea of like taking and making a brand from scratch and then creating a website and then, working on SEO, because we're going to get into this, what your company does, but, and then from there, making it a focus to sell just these products on Amazon?
Sure. I mean, there's obviously different aspects to it. When we're talking about building your own website and working on SEO and driving traffic that way, that's obviously a lot more involved. That takes a lot of effort to get that traffic to, could take a lot of advertising dollars to acquire the customers, versus with something like Amazon or Walmart or Etsy or eBay or any number of other platforms out there. There are people already going to those websites. They're already searching for products. So by putting your products in front of those people with your own brand on it, you have some differentiation from the other products that are within the marketplace. And you don't have to pay as much to get the people to view your listings or to view your storefront on the Amazon platform. So it's a shortcut in a way to start selling a product and start building a brand. And that's kind of what we recommend to a lot of our clients that are not familiar with e-commerce, is, really just to start on the platforms, because it's the lowest barriers to entry and the best way to just start making sales and start gaining a little momentum in e-commerce and give you that confidence to start investing more.
So, if there's a single mom, or maybe there's somebody that just got laid off work and they've got a little bit of money saved up, and they're looking at, or maybe they're looking at quitting their job. There's somebody that's listening to this and they're looking at quitting their job, and they're like, I really loved this whole time, for this whole year, I was able to stay at home, and now they're wanting me to go back to the office. I really would love to do something at home. Is it realistic to do this full time?
Oh, of course. There are plenty of people that make a full-time living off of this. I mean, many of our clients ourselves, we've helped scale from doing, a couple $100,000 a year in sales to doing, multiple seven figures over the course of 2 years. And, that's pretty much supporting herself. So going from, making a couple 100,000 in revenue, so maybe you're looking at, 20% margins or less for a physical good, to doing, 5 million plus in revenue at that same margin, is a huge difference. So yeah, it's possible. There are a lot of success stories out there of people who just invest their money, find the right product category, start selling, and they just knock it out of the park on the first try. Sometimes it takes luck, sometimes it takes a lot of good research and a lot of good work, or other times you need to partner with somebody like our company, for example, or one of our competitors that are out there to help you start selling more on the Amazon platform.
Yeah. So whenever we look at, so because I always try to picture someone. So there's somebody out there and they're saying, I've got $25,000 sitting here. I want to start this. I have this great idea. I think I could manufacture this product, or get it manufactured, and I want to do this brand. Is $25,000 enough to get started, right?
I would say that it is enough if you're going to sell something that isn't patented per se. Like if you're an inventor, or you have your own great idea for a product that really doesn't exist in the marketplace and you need some intellectual property there to protect it, I would say that you probably need more money to actually get started in that situation, because unless you're manufacturing in the US or whatever country you actually own the intellectual property for, you're going to run into a lot of manufacturing issues potentially down the road. For example, this is a pretty common occurrence: sourcing a product in China that's patented in the US, the patent doesn't cover China, and then your Chinese manufacturer patents it in China, and now you're pretty much out of luck. So that is a big challenge. If you're going to be selling something that's already in the marketplace, there's already demand for, it's not patented, it's not something that is protected by other intellectual property, it is easier to start with $10,000. You don't even need $25,000. Having that much money to invest initially is way more than you need to succeed. And we started our first brands with, I think, $3,000 to $4,000 per brand. So you don't have to invest a lot of money to really start getting those sales.
Oh, okay. And so, for instance, if somebody now, do you guys mainly work with businesses that are already going and they've already making a couple 100,000, and then you take it to that seven figure, or do you guys work with helping start out from the very beginning?
We typically work with clients that are already going, but we do have a new program out where we're actually going to be, it's essentially an accelerator. It's called AMZ Courses, where essentially they can learn a lot of the fundamentals themselves that will help them get to a certain level of sales on Amazon. And then from there, they're at least able to support themselves. They're able to make enough money to keep the business going, keep purchasing inventory, and they can decide whether they really want to learn it all themselves and start scaling the platform and their sales more, or whether they kind of want to outsource it to a company like ours and let us handle the entire process for them.
So you're kind of like is this like so let's say somebody, we'll use this for instance, let's say there's a stay-at-home mom, she designed this new yoga mat, and so now she's she's making 250, 300,000 a year, putting this yoga mat out there, and she wants to scale it to 7 million, and she comes to you guys. Is there like what would that process be if there's somebody out there that has a store and it's kind of stalled?
Yeah. Typically the biggest issue that we see is that if a brand has stalled, or they're not really achieving the sales numbers that they're seeing within the marketplace, or they think they could do better, it comes down to the fundamentals, at least on the Amazon platform, of having the right content, having the right SEO, the right graphic design, having enough reviews, having good reviews. All that's extremely important to succeeding on the Amazon platform. And that's kind of the initial approach that we'll take to companies that we're onboarding. Is we'll look at exactly what's going on with their listings, see where they're getting what listings are getting the best traffic, which ones are converting the best, where we should spend the majority of our time focusing on scaling. Because focusing on initially the ones that are the easy wins are the ones where you can start generating more sales by just driving more traffic. If the product converts high, that is the quickest way to start adding revenue. And then from there, there's a lot more advanced techniques that you can use within advertising to try to get a product to page one on Amazon, for example, because being on page one versus page two is going to lead to a huge difference in sales. So you really, that's where the more advanced stuff comes on. Us as a company, we handle that entire process. So like I said, we do all the content, we do the advertising, we get you those sales. And then from there, once you're at a point where you're comfortable to start investing more into the platform, is where we really focus on, all right, now it's time to start spending more on advertising and take your sales to the next level, get you to page one, and really start driving those organic sales for you.
So, like, I know Amazon is specific. Now, is there, and is there because I know SEM and I understand that completely, but is there a way that Amazon is different than SEM? Or because I know you guys like break it down to different services that you have, whether it's Amazon advertising or SEM advertising, or does one benefit the other? Is there, because I've seen that a lot of times, especially on the SEM side, where you may do these few things and then those few things turn around and boost that, the SEM side of things. So is Amazon its own independent platform, or does it go off and look at the brand, through a lens of what else it's doing online?
Well, it's that's a good question. It's both. I mean, it really depends on how well you're actually doing. Building a brand is where you'll really see the SEM piece come into play. I mean, within just comparing the two platforms within Amazon and Google, for example, Google Ads, they are keyword targeting campaigns, so it's very similar in that aspect of SEM. However, there's a lot more ad placements. There's a lot more strategies and ad types that can be implemented to really help you achieve your goals on the Amazon platform. And then as you're starting to build a real brand within the Amazon platform, people are coming to Amazon searching for your brand, trying to find your products, is where you'll actually see that Amazon starts to help you push your off platform. So they'll actually bid on your own SEM keywords For example, a lot of clients get frustrated. We've had clients like have gotten frustrated with this, where the bids on their brand name keywords on Google have gone up 30, 40, 50%. And it's mainly because they're doing so much better on the Amazon platform and getting so many sales there that Amazon sees this as a good low cost way to get more people to their website. So it definitely competes in a way with your SEM advertising that you're going to be doing to try to bring people to your website if you're building traffic there. And that can be discouraging for some businesses, but at the same time, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt and say that, well, this is kind of validation that my brand's actually working, that there's enough branded searches out there that my keywords are valuable enough for another company, $1 billion company, to advertise on. So it's also a good sign of what you're doing online.
Yeah, like whenever you look at like those Instagram stores and the Google store, when you search for something, if I'm searching for yoga mats, and then it puts little squares up there with pricing, and it clicks to all the different stores. Does Amazon get involved in that pretty heavily? Is that part of and do you guys mess with the Instagram store at all, or do you guys just primarily focus on Amazon and Google?
We primarily focus on Amazon and Walmart as the two main platforms that we work on. We do some Shopify and more of the entire e-commerce sales funnel aspect in that perspective. And we use Amazon as a big brand awareness tool to fit within that entire e-commerce ecosystem for each brand that we work with. Social media, we don't deal with as much. We just aren't as familiar with it. We don't have as many social media team members on our team. But there are a lot of Amazon sellers out there that do leverage social media to drive cheap traffic to their Amazon stores, generate more sales, and help them show up further on higher up on page one to continue to generate more organic sales. It's just not something that we've personally gotten into.
Now, I know you guys are a global company, and you help private labels all across Europe, Canada, Asia, everywhere. And I know you're based in Mexico, and we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. But like consultancy, and I know that's your focus is consulting with a brand. What do you view that as? Like when you're looking at, is it because I know you offer like pricing and packages and stuff like that to help these brands out. But when you're consulting, is there like a difference between that and just some full service advertising agency?
I mean, I think the way we approach it is maybe a little bit different. I know a lot of companies that are probably our competitors in some aspects, mainly that are doing the Amazon advertising, that follow a business model that's typically based on, ad spend. It's a very common business model in the advertising space, in the agency space. But we think that creates the wrong alignments for our clients. I mean, obviously, as a agency, if you're making money based on the amount of advertising dollars you're spending of your client, that incentivizes you to spend more, although the results you might get from that additional spending might not actually benefit your client. So we kind of take the approach of, we're a partner with the companies we work with. We're looking to help them, achieve whatever their goals are, whether they have restrictions on the amount of advertising dollars they want to spend, whether they are open to new advertising suggestions or ideas. We're not shoving something down their throat that they need to take. It's really kind of like I said, a partnership. We're really discussing what we've done for other clients, what's worked for other clients, what we think could work for them, why we want to approach it this way, and then taking their feedback on what our suggestions are and then implementing it into a strategy that works for them. I mean, we found that this is the best way to kind of build our relationship with our clients. It creates the same alignment on the goals. And, I mean, personally, it's just a great feeling to have these success stories where we take a client from doing $20,000 a month in sales to $350,000 a month in sales, over time, just by implementing the strategies that we use.
Yeah, that's it. That's incredible. Amazon the other day got me, and I think this is important. I want people to understand this. I know you could speak to this. So I was looking for a bike rack, that I could hold my bike inside my place, and an indoor like bike rack. And I found one, and I know there's probably some key things that you could say, but I found one. The reason I bought it over the other ones, one, of course, is ratings, and we all know that. But number two is it had great pictures and it had a video with it. Sometimes you see a video and sometimes you don't. And the video was kind of like a product demonstration. And it was really up close. So I could kind of see how, what the quality was of it. Was it heavy? Was it tube? Would it hold my bike? What sizes? And it kind of demonstrated all that. And you guys do it because from talking to you guys, do the product photos and do the videos and everything.
We do create the videos, but we use a lot of existing content or assets that the clients will provide to us. And then we'll, utilize a lot of times stock video, or we will shoot some video ourselves and then edit it into a finished piece with whatever content they're providing to ourselves. But I think what you touched on right there is the importance of creating a good Amazon listing. I mean, video is one aspect of it. The images that you use is another aspect of it. The way you write your content, talking about how this product benefits the end user, how it improves their life, how it makes things easier for them, is more important than talking about whatever the specific feature is of the product, because people
Right.
don't care as much about that. They care about how this product is going to benefit them, how it changes, and leveraging all of that knowledge of what the customer is looking for into the content that you're creating for the graphic design and the visual content through video is a huge way to help your listing stand out on the Amazon platform. I mean, I think from your experience, when you see a product like that has that quality, that shows they've invested that much time into making their listings look good, it makes you have that much more confidence that the product is actually higher quality.
Yeah, and I know there's probably people that are thinking this too. Is the Amazon choice a paid? Do you pay for that?
No, you do not. That is actually something that we help a lot of our clients get. It's mainly from advertising on a specific search term. So there's obviously two badges that a lot of people are familiar with. The first one is the bestseller. That's the number one bestseller in whatever product category that specific product is in. And the other one is Amazon's choice. And what that means is that product actually has the most sales on whatever specific search term you looked for on the Amazon platform. So if you search for bike rack, the product that's going to show up with that tag is the product that has sold the most from advertising placements on the platform.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because I know a lot of us will choose, it's almost like when you go to Costco and you get the Kirkland signature. It's almost kind of this Amazon choice. You see, it's got high rating, it's Amazon choice. I'll just go ahead and buy it. So I know that's probably a coveted position for your clients.
Yeah, I mean, every client wants that. I mean, the number one bestseller is even better to get, but Amazon's choice is a great way to help your product stand out. You're leveraging all the visual aspects of Amazon, because when people are shopping, having that visual content, having every little benefit you can get visually versus having the text that they need to read, it's super important in getting more sales on the platform.
So with COVID and everything that's going on, and everybody's been driven, homes, and they're not going out as much anymore, and people are just, shopping online like crazy, and we're even having stuff delivered to us, not just in the mail, but what do you think is, or what are you guys looking at, like near future and long term? Do you think Amazon's going to invest more in and of itself, and the platform's going to change? Because they really, to me, like, I know you guys that see changes all the time, but for me, it's pretty much looks the same. They may have changed a few tweaks here and there. Do you think that they're going to change the platform to try to be better, like do a big update? What do you think the future of this is going to be?
I think, well, I mean, like you said, Amazon's constantly changing, although the changes might not be that obvious to the ordinary customer that's shopping. You can look at a product page and Amazon might actually be split testing it. So you might see a layout that's slightly different than someone else. They're constantly split testing things throughout the day that you're probably not even aware of. But I think design wise, I think the functionality is more or less going to stay the same. One big aspect that Amazon's pushed into a lot more is kind of the social aspect of it, creating almost social media networks within the Amazon platform to keep customers on the website, to keep them engaged. And that comes, and now it's up to the sellers to leverage those networks and generate sales from them. That is probably one change that we're going to continue to see from Amazon, continue to push more of this social media aspect of it. And that just benefits brands more than people selling random products. So it's something that every brand really needs to be leveraging. And beyond that, just advertising in general. We think of advertising within Amazon as when you search something and you see the sponsored ad results that show up at the top of the search page, or the headline search result that shows up at the very, very top. But Amazon has its own DSP platform, which is their display advertising, where you can place ads all over the internet. You can drive traffic to your own website using the DSP, and you can get placements on Amazon and drive people to your own website off of Amazon. There's a lot of great benefits that are there through the Amazon advertising platform, and I think the targeting, the ability to advertise on there is only going to continue to improve. From what I saw, I think I saw it the other day, that the largest advertising network in 2020 was Amazon. I think it was 11 billion in ad spend. So it's overtaken, Facebook, it's overtaken Google. So Amazon is here to stay within the advertising space, and every brand needs to consider investing more into their Amazon advertising to continue to capture customer attention when they're shopping.
So let's say we have a customer right now, and they're they're listening to this, and maybe, like I said, maybe they're making 270,000 a year, and they want to scale up. Kind of walk through the process. Do you guys schedule a call? What do you do at AMZ Advisors kind of in that beginning phases? Okay, if you could just kind of do a quick walkthrough.
Sure. So the typical onboarding process, if someone's going to start working with us, we're obviously going to make sure before we ever sign anything that we're a good fit for each other, that they have enough money to invest, that their products show enough upside where we think that our services can actually provide a lot of value for them. That's something that we kind of do internally to make sure that everyone's aligned there. And then from that process, we're going to start researching their entire product catalog, start prioritizing which products we're going to be advertising or which products we're going to start marketing with. And then from there, it's creating the content and then starting pushing the advertising strategies to get the sales going. And it's an ongoing process. I mean, there might be a company that has a catalog of 100 SKUs. We've worked with companies that have catalogs of 10,000 different products. And it's a constant product research phase to figure out where the best opportunities are. Maybe a product that they don't have in their catalog, but that aligns with their brand and is doing well on Amazon is another opportunity for them to start growing their brand. So it really is full service. It's everything from, getting your existing product and catalog selling on the platform, but also finding new opportunities for your business to grow within that same niche and continue to capture more sales online.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was talking with someone a while back, and they were talking about how that they easily misled themselves. And I know you guys do consulting. But they were like, we sell a ton of this product, and we're selling thousands of these products, but they were actually almost breaking even on that one. They had another product where they had huge profit margins on it, but they weren't selling as much. But what they ended up doing was, because they were selling so much of this other one, they were throwing advertising dollars for that. And it's like, if you would have thrown advertising dollars for this other one, you may not sell as many units, but the profit margins would have been a lot better.
Yeah, the analytics and understanding your business data is extremely important with e-commerce, not just with Amazon. Any platform you're advertising on, you need to make sure that you're meeting your margin requirements. You're actually not taking cash out of your business that you're going to need to grow in the future. We recognize the value in that, and that's why we have our own analytics, our own dashboards that our clients have, where they can see their profitability per SKU, and they can actually see how they're doing profit-wise, where their advertising dollars are going, what the return on those advertising dollars is. And, that's something that we try to make very apparent for our clients, and, make sure that they have a good idea of what they're actually achieving on the platform.
That's awesome. And Mike, I want to kind of on the tail end of this podcast, I want to kind of get into a little bit of being in Mexico and looking at, because you said you're in Guatemala?
Guadalajara, excuse me.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So that's that's in the middle of Mexico, right?
Yeah. We're, if you had to consider it to the US, we're directly south of Denver, and we're also about a mile high. So.
Oh, okay, cool. So is it like tropical, or?
It is very dry. But we have a rainy season. It's not there are palm trees outside. I'm looking at palm trees outside of my office right now. But it's not the beach in Cancun or Puerto Vallarta or, even Cabo San Lucas, where some other people might be familiar with.
Right. And so what was this was this just like a personal desire to say, "Hey, I want to move to Mexico?" Cuz here you were, commercial real estate, United States. Now you started this business. I mean, if I would have talked to you 15 years ago, you'd have said, "Full-time living in Mexico? What?" So,
Yeah,
what brought this on?
it's a crazy story. It's funny how you just make decisions in life and it leads you into a new place. You don't even think about it at the time. But when we were starting the business, we were wondering, it was our first venture into advertising. Myself and my two other business partners, none of us had any experience in the advertising space. I did have consulting experience, but that was a little bit different. And we were like, hey, let's get out of this corporate mentality. Let's go enjoy ourselves. We moved down to Playa del Carmen in the Yucatan to be at the beach, to be in the warm weather. And then down there, the business started gaining a lot of traction. We all kind of went and traveled. I ended up coming to Guadalajara, which is where I've been. I met my girlfriend here. She's from here. And more or less, I've stayed here ever since. Still do some traveling once in a while. But yeah, that's kind of how I ended up down here. It is a big change from working in commercial real estate. I was interviewing in Manhattan for jobs at some points, and now I'm in Mexico and in another big city. It's just not what I would have expected.
So I think the number one thing, because I want to ask a couple questions of this, as because you brought your business down there, right?
Yes, we have a few offices here. The main one's in Guadalajara, but we have some other ones in Mexico as well.
So, one was, I think one everybody asks is, how safe is it? Like that's always like, I think the first concern.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty common concern. I mean, a lot of people hear where I'm from, and all they can think of is like Netflix, narco series, and stuff like
Right.
that. um, no, but I mean, it's the city itself is very safe. I mean, there is crime. It's like any other big city. I grew up in Connecticut, right next to Bridgeport. Bridgeport's one of the most dangerous cities in the U.S. Murder rate wise, and it feels completely different to here. I mean, there's neighborhoods you don't go like anywhere. You don't go to some parts of New York. You don't go to some parts of Philadelphia where I went to school. Um, but yeah, I mean, safety wise, it's very safe. There's a lot of foreigners here, a lot of expats. About 30 minutes south of here, there's actually a big retiree community. So there are a lot of Americans and Canadians that live in the area.
Yeah, and I think this whole desire to be an expat, and you could live on $3,000 a month, or 1,500 a month, or whatever. Is that something that you're finding like that's true? Is that true? I mean, is it the cost of living a lot less?
Yes, much less. To put it in perspective, I before I left Connecticut, I was living in a penthouse with two other roommates, and I was spending about $1,500 a month per person on the apartment. We each had our own bedroom, and I spent $1,000 a month now in rent. I live in a 3-bedroom tower by myself. I don't even need the extra bedrooms, and just in perspective, the cost of living is significantly lower. And this same rent in Manhattan, I don't even think it would give me a closet. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and then, like, as far as doing business there, has that been, like developing a team and getting things together? Especially not, do you speak Spanish fluently?
yes, I do.
Oh, okay. Well, that helps a lot. That helps a lot with that. But has it been a struggle getting workers or?
I think I think that's a lot of the objections that a lot of people have when they think about working in Mexico or having a business in Mexico. Um, when it comes to like I said, I speak Spanish, but when it comes to a lot of the obstacles like legal, accounting, you know aspects like that, business formation, things that are extremely important. I still work with someone else that is native, that understands all these things with a lawyer, because
Right.
that's not something I want to handle on my own. It's not a mistake I want to make, because obviously that has a lot of other repercussions. So, when it comes to that, like the important decisions, there's a lot of great attorneys, a lot of great accountants down here that can help you understand and help you navigate the obstacles. But beyond that, talent wise, it's phenomenal. the like I said, the cost of living here is much cheaper, and that holds true for the actual employees that you'll be hiring. I mean, we have MBAs that are working for us for $2,000 a month or less. So we're getting incredibly talented people that are helping our business scale a lot. That are fluent in English. Some of them were even born in the U.S. and then moved back to Mexico. So you get access to a really good talent pool here in Mexico. There's a lot of similarities between U.S. and Mexican work culture and just culture in general. So a lot of things spill over. It's really not that hard to adapt to things. So yeah, in general, I mean, I think the experience is really good. It's not too difficult to navigate, especially if you know who you need to talk to.
Yeah. Now, is there like, because I know certain areas, I've had friends move from California and different places, Washington State, and move to Texas for tax benefits. Is it even greater tax benefits in Mexico?
As a foreigner, there are some unique tax benefits that you can leverage. Obviously, if you live outside of the country, you qualify for something called the foreign earned income exclusion. That means any work that you do outside of the country, you get a tax break on up to your first $105,000. So if you make $100,000, you don't pay any taxes to the U.S. government apart from Social Security. There's no income taxes, no federal income, which is huge. Yes. That's obviously one nice benefit. The other great benefit is that if you get a type of residency down here, which is called temporary residency, you're not actually required to file for a tax ID. So, on record, I don't have any tax record here in Mexico. I don't pay any taxes here in Mexico. I'm just responsible for any U.S. taxes I make beyond the foreign earned income exclusion. So while there isn't a specific tax break per state, per se, there is significant federal tax breaks that you can earn if you're American and move down here. Or if you're Canadian, there's another great hurdle that you can take advantage of. If you live outside of Canada for 6 months out of the year, you pay zero federal income tax. So that's another great benefit that they have.
Yeah, because I mean, if you kept obviously you could easily live under 100,000. You could live nicely under 100,000 a year. So if you kept your income under 100,000, then that 30-40% is you get a keep.
Oh yeah, and there's more beyond that. There's another tax break you can take advantage of called the foreign housing tax credit, and you can deduct up to $16,000 a year. Pretty much, there's enough tax breaks where you can pretty much get to $150,000, about I think 148 actually, and you're pretty much paying no federal U.S. taxes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's very nice.
I think you just convinced a couple people. They'll be joining you soon.
Hey, anytime. I mean, Guadalajara is great. The city of Tequila, or the town of Tequila, is only about 30 minutes away, so that's always a good time as well.
Yeah, it's kind of inland, right? So it takes a while to get to the beach, or
yeah, we're like I said, we're up in the mountains. It's about 3 hours to Colima, which has some nice beaches, and then Puerto Vallarta is probably the most well-known beach. That is about 4.5 hours away from here. So it is a drive. I mean, you can get a 45-minute flight if you really want it. But yeah, it's pretty close to the beach.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Well, it's just fascinating to me when we look at being online and we have this ability. And I think especially now with everything going on with COVID and everything's just shifted. Yeah, and it's going to be even more, with, these data centers coming on and cloud computing. And there's this, and I want entrepreneurs to see, Mike, and I think you are a perfect example of this, is that you can recreate yourself. You can even recreate yourself and be in a different country. You don't have to be stuck into that 9 to 5 grind and spending time in traffic and working 8-hour days. I mean, people used to do that, and where they would spend 2 to 4 hours a day in traffic and then work 8 hours. But you have no life when you're doing that 5-6 days a week.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, that was one of the biggest drains on me physically and emotionally when I was working, is, making that commute every day, working for someone else, spending my time helping someone else create value for themselves instead of creating value for myself. But I think you're 100% right. I mean, there's so many different opportunities out there right now, whether you're selling a physical product and, using e-commerce to reach people, or whether you're providing a service, or potentially taking knowledge that you already have through your current job and turning it into a service is another business. That's another huge way to get started. If you come from the advertising and marketing space, going into advertising and marketing and creating your own company is another easy possibility. And then just, it's really kind of a game after that. Once you kind of get started, once you start making money, you just start testing new things, start finding out new things. We're up to 18 employees here in Mexico. So, maybe you'll want to hire down here, or maybe you want to go somewhere else and hire. I mean, the potential is almost unlimited.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I love that. Well, Mike, our time is up. I really appreciate, I'm going to be respectful of your time. I really appreciate you being on the ABQ Business Podcast. If somebody wants to know more, maybe they have an online shop and they want to scale it up, what's the best way for them to get a hold of your company so they can, at least have that call with you and do some consultancy?
For sure. The best way to get in touch with us is at our website, amzadvisors.com, or they can also email me directly at info@amzadvisors.com. If you have any questions about e-commerce in general, or even just living outside the country, or hiring employees somewhere else, I'm so glad to answer anyone's questions. So,
thank you, Mike. I really appreciate it, and thank you for being on the podcast today.
Yeah, Jason, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us on the Albuquerque Business Podcast. And thanks to our sponsor, RigbyDigital.com. Make sure to subscribe and share. And go to abqpodcast.com. Get show notes, resources, and links to everything we talked about today to help you navigate your journey as an entrepreneur and business owner.